Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me for this acrylic painting tutorial. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to paint a zinnia flower. We're going to be doing it step by step from start to finish. And I think it's going to be a really good lesson on some undercolor study and some glazing. I've got my husband, Mark, with me.
Hey there, everybody.
He's man in chat during our live show today. So if you have questions while I'm painting, you can ask those and I'll try to answer them. Let's get started. Alrighty, so I'm using a 10 by 10 inch Pro Series 12 ounce Dixie canvas here. It's got the wide edges. Whoa, I'm overblown again. I changed my camera setting. Hopefully it won't be an issue. We'll see. It's a little bit bright white today. Sorry about that. I haven't done anything to the canvas to prepare it except for just drawing on my flower onto the canvas, and I'll show you how to draw it here in a minute. I've got a 3/8 inch, 1/4 inch angle shader that I'll probably be doing the main work on. I've also got a number 6 Filbert for some of the blending, and then a number 4 round for some of the smaller areas in the center there, and a 1/4 inch Willow's blender in case we want to do any texturing. And then I'll have a larger angle brush. It's a number 6 from the 6100 series. These red handles are the VelvetTouch series from Princeton, and then these ones are the 6100 series from Princeton, just to do the background in black. So we'll save that for last. It's always my favorite part of doing these flowers when we put that black on, because it just is like pow. It's really amazing how much it makes that flower stand out when we do that last layer. All right, let me go over our colors here real quick. I've got carbon black. That'll be mainly just for our background color. Burnt umber, burnt sienna, quinacridone burnt orange. That's an optional color. I'm not sure we're going to use a whole lot of it this time. Yellow oxide, cadmium yellow, medium or light. Cadmium orange, cadmium yellow, cadmium red light. This one is a new color, quinacridone red. But if you don't have that, just grab like a cadmium red medium or something like that. And we really may not use a whole lot of it either. It's just going to be mainly for glazing, I think. We've got some Quinacridone Magenta. Can't say my words today. And then this one is fluorescent magenta. And Dioxazine Purple and Ultramarine Blue, and then Unbleached Titanium, Titanium White, and some Zinc White. And then this is Glazing Medium here. So the fluorescent magenta is also kind of a new-ish color. We've used it a couple of times. I think it'll give our zinnia some real star power. If we don't have that one, just use your regular magenta. I think it'll be fine. It won't be quite as vivid neon, but I think it'll be close enough. So I've got the color. Might as well use it, right? Pull it out for some of these flowers every now and then. All right, so let's draw it out real quick. We're gonna go fast today because I know these large flower series take a while to do, so hopefully we can have time to get it all done.
Real quick, what color are your nails?
This was Enough is Enough. It's Essie brand, I think. Mm-hmm. This is the color that my two Nathan and Spencer went nail polish shopping for me for Christmas. So, which I just wish I had video of that, because my youngest and my oldest sons. Yeah, so it's first time. It's not quite a color close. It's not quite a match, but it's close enough. So it's hilarious. All right, so I'm using a 9 by 12 inch, so this is a little bit more narrow than my canvas was, but you kind of get the idea. You can kind of narrow it down a little bit. So our circle here for the center this one's a real easy one to draw because it's like straight onto us. We don't have any weird angles or anything. Wow, it is super overblown. Okay, I'm gonna have to change out my camera angle here. Sorry, hon. Real fast here. Change my spot meter.
So hopefully everybody's doing great today.
Sorry.
Thank you for joining us for this part of the show. We're just getting into this whole streaming thing, so we're
No, it's
figuring it
not.
out.
I do a stream on Thursdays, and what did I use the last time to get it the right color? I can't remember. Maybe it was
I don't know. But hey, if you're liking this so far, give it a thumbs up, subscribe. There'll be more to come.
It's way overdone still. I can't get it down.
I don't know what to
where I
do.
want it at. Sorry.
So anyways, hope everybody's doing well. Nobody's getting the coronavirus that's going crazy right now across the world.
Okay, I think that did it. All right, I think we're good.
Are we back?
Yes.
All right, here we go.
Much better. Okay. Just don't want everything to look like super overblown here. There we go. Well, it's still a little bit bright, but I think we should be able to make it work. Okay. All right. So you're going to want to just pick a circle that is about 1.5. Leave yourself about 1.5 size on either side. So whatever this is, fully plus about another half, and that's really going to bring us right to the edges, so you might even make it smaller. So you're going to have a outer edge there. These outer rims are going to be these kind of star-shaped blossoms that all kind of are exploding open here, and then this middle part is all kind of small seeds that are pointing to the center. So if however you want to do your drawing for that, it doesn't really matter as long as you kind of get these major, this shape and then this inner shape, so you kind of know where to place your center design there. So you're going to take that size and just kind of double it. So I just use my fingers and kind of figure out where that border line is and do that on either side too. So you've got kind of a couple marks there to kind of give yourself a reference, and then you're going to take that in half and then do another mark in about the half of that, so right up in here somewhere. All right, and you could do that all the way around if you want to give yourself a border, and just kind of do a rough circle here and here, so you kind of know where your boundaries are for your flower petals. And then I just started with the first ones that are on top. So there's some that are going to be underneath and some that are going to be on top. So start with the ones that are on top, and you're just going to come from that center area and widen out. And it doesn't have to go all the way to this edge. Some of them will and some of them won't. So just kind of whatever your reference is showing you. Some of them are going to be tucked in between and come out a little bit farther. And if you want to, you can count them. I counted, there was about 7 on this side and like about 5 on this top edge here. So some of these you're going to do overlap this way. So they'll just kind of overlap each other. Have kind of a straight, flat top there. And you'll have all these little petals stacking in. And then you'll see just like a little bit right here of this one peeking out in between, where there'll be like a little V there. Okay, and these are really, really fun, easy flowers to draw. They're not difficult. There's just a lot of like little petals, so you just kind of have to take your time and kind of do these outer ones first. Do all of these little ones that you're seeing, and then just use your guide so that you don't go, past that. And that way you're going to keep your flower symmetrical. And like I said, some of them are going to come out a little bit farther than others. So they're not all going to be exactly all the way to this edge, So some are a little bit shorter, some are longer. That's just kind of the natural way of flower growth. And then this one's got a nice big one that's right on top. and then a little one that's kind of in front of it, and then a bunch more of these overlapping petals. These ones are all just kind of in a row, kind of overlapping each other in a stack almost. And then more, I think I added a petal in there, but that's all right. Get the idea. Okay, then our outer petals are just going to kind of stack in between. So you're going to find these little areas in here. You're going to see that there's petals that are going to come out, and in between these ones. Big one right there. And these ones overlap a little bit, but not as much as the outer ones. They're kind of almost just side by side in some areas. And there's also a little bit more space in between them. They're not all kind of facing in the same direction always. So these ones are kind of out this way. But these, just kind of remember that these shapes should all point into this center. So all of these petals should all point in towards this middle part. So you're not going to have a petal stacked up and attaching to the side of the center like that. They're all going to be pointing straight down into that middle. So be sure that you're turning the focus of your petal inward as you go around, just like a spoke on a wheel. And if you need to, you can draw those out just like a spoke. And so I'm not going to do them exactly. It's not going to be, like the finished drawing, but you're going to get the idea of how we do it.
Sorry. At least my mic was off.
Yeah, it gets you in trouble.
For singing so awesome.
Okay, so there's kind of our zinnia there. Hopefully you can see that. And that's, once you get it on here, you can trace it and then transfer it onto your canvas really easily. And that way you can kind of take your time on your drawing and you don't have to
or just go to
have a lot of erasing.
Patreon.com/gentleflatart.
I have the traceable already up right now, just ahead of time. So it's already ready.
Nice.
Yeah, so if you're painting along, you can grab that. It's still $1, but today it is going up to $2. This is the last day. I waited till today for after the show. It's going to be going up to $2 for the traceable level after today. If you are currently a $1 traceable level person, it's not going to go up for you. So if you've been thinking about doing it, today's the day. And if you're a current member, your level is not going to change at all. It's the same.
So don't let it lapse.
Right. Yeah. It's still cheaper than a cup of coffee, so.
True that.
And it's unlimited traceables, so it just gives you access to my entire library of traceables on Patreon. You can download as many as you want for that $2 level or whatever, $1 if you're still there.
It's better than a buffet. Is it vegan and keto?
I don't know.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry.
Okay, so my thought with this, since it's so bright, is I think it's going to do well if we do kind of an orangey undertone for this. I don't know if it's going to work exactly like I'm thinking, but I want to kind of just start out by blushing some orange on some of these petals, and it doesn't have to be anything real careful. I'm just going to kind of put a little bit of an orange undertone in the center of some of these. And mainly I'm seeing this brighter kind of area right in this inner circle. So I'm going to just try it on here. We'll see how it goes when we glaze over the top of it. But you can see I'm not being particularly careful. I'm mainly just trying to make sure I don't have any hard edges, any hard lines that are going to be hard to blend over the top. See, and what this, I think, hopefully, in theory, will do is if we glaze some of that yellow, that pink over the top, it'll give it kind of a little bit of a glow underneath. Ideally. We'll see if it works. This may go really wrong. I've not tried it, so you're with me on this exploration today.
All right,
Just
I'm
gonna
holding
see if
on.
this- What?
I'm holding on.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Hey, somebody or some buddies have asked, why did you not start with a black
With a toned-
canvas?
Oh, because I definitely, this is such a bright flower. I definitely didn't want to have to fight that black. So, if I'd have started with black, I would have had to paint the flower in white or almost white to get that bright hot pink color that we're going to go for at the end. So I didn't want to have to do that. So this will, I'm toning the canvas right now, which I thought about painting the whole thing orange, but I just decided this would be just as easy, probably faster, just to kind of tint some of these petals with this orange color. And really kind of these outer ones, I'm just kind of doing the Cadmium Orange, and I'm not worried about my outline because I'm going to be painting that whole outside edge black. So, okay, so we've kind of tinted them, and now I'm going to just kind of go through here with some glazing medium with this and kind of go over the whole thing, blend in my lines just a little bit. Real quickly, don't take any time for this. This is just...
Oh, I won't.
100% of this is going to be covered up by other colors, so none of this is going to show underneath. Does not have to be clean. You're not even painting. Stop. Don't even.
This week.
This week you're not painting. Is it next weekend?
Next weekend.
What?
1 week from today.
Mark is doing his public debut of painting. He's done it once on YouTube. Well, no, you did a drawing.
I didn't.
You did a stickman
I did
drawing
a stickman
a few years
tutorial.
ago.
I did row houses for the Patreon people.
That was the Patreon, but you've never done it on YouTube public.
That's true.
Plus, it's going to be live, so it's going to be super. We're all going to be judging you.
Not
no,
memory.
I'm joking.
Oh, I know.
No, I'm totally joking. If I can teach Mark how to paint, I can teach anybody how to paint. That's what all I have to say.
Wow.
What?
I think that's an underhand jab
That's
at
not.
my
It's the
talent,
truth.
saying that I'm the hardest person to teach.
It's hard to teach a loved one. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, good recovery. And an engineer at that.
My son Spencer can attest too. He sat through many of my art classes, and he did not want to listen to directions. It was a very frustrating experience for both of us. So hopefully Mark will be better behaved.
You'll see where your son gets
Spencer
it from.
was when he was about 9.
Yeah, but you'll see where he gets it from.
Burnt umber and quinacridone burnt orange there. And I'm going to use the same color with a little bit of glaze. And
which brush are you using there?
This is just that 3/8 inch angle that I've been using. Nothing new. Same brush. I'm just going to tint in this back area where those center blossoms are going to be. So this is the inner ring, and this is that outer ring of petals. And really this is probably farther out than it needs to go, but I'm just going to kind of try to blend it out so it's not interfering with our petals too much. Okay. We're done now.
Voila.
It's actually kind of cool the way it is. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you do these underpaintings and they are really ugly, and sometimes they're like this. It's kind of neat looking. It's a little bit more like if I was, doing an impressionist style or something. All right, so I'm going to grab Quinacridone Magenta here, maybe a little bit of glazing medium, but not much. And I'm just going to go through here and kind of outline some of these petals because I kind of lost the the outline of some of them. And just kind of lightly pulling from that center up. And be sure, you know, if you're doing this in the dark red, like I did, you can, if you do that orange over the top, you may need to do your traceable again. So just kind of know, you just may have to be careful not to cover it up completely. I kind of went a little bit overboard here. I can hardly see my original drawing. Just drawing it back in.
For me,
very quickly.
painting next week, will I have to get my nails done?
That would be really funny if you did. Let me see here. I think I did that one wrong. That one goes in like that. This is that. Sorry, I'm whispering to myself. That's what that one is. So just drawing these back in roughly with my brush here. Mainly these ones are the ones that I can't really see anymore. Okay, so I'm going to start back here and work my way in, and we'll do the ones that are on top last. So back in here, these ones are pretty dark. I'm going to use just a little bit of white with my Quinacridone Magenta. Just start filling those in. And honestly, you could probably tint this whole thing with the magenta too. I don't know. It doesn't have a huge, this reference photo is pretty flat as far as values go. So we may have to kind of manufacture some little folds and little dark areas of our petals just to kind of give it a little bit of dimension, because it is kind of fairly straight. It's not got a lot of value. There's a little bit of a value change like along the very tips of some of these petals, but is there a problem?
No. People are calling me out. They're challenging me about my nails next week.
Oh, God.
So I think we're going to go black.
Okay.
As long as it can be off by Monday.
Yeah. It's going to get in your nail beds. Mm-hmm. Like even though you take it off, it gets stuck down in here. So you're going to have little bits of black in your nail beds. Mm-hmm. I have black.
Yep. Okay, so we'll do it. And
okay.
like I said, I may like it enough and just keep it for work.
All right. Mark Anderson.
Hey, if you're going to make me do this, I'm going to enjoy it.
Okay. All right, using a little bit of the lighter color here just to kind of tint over. And I definitely like that orange. I'm already seeing it peeking through here. So I think it's going to work. A little bit of the lighter color here. And we can go even a little bit lighter with our light section than we want to end up, because we can, when we glaze over the top with our magenta there, it'll darken everything right up. So you do want to you actually do want to go a little bit lighter than you need to when you're planning on glazing, like we are. And then let's grab some of that darker, a little bit of purple. Purples, we could even use a little bit of the Quinacridone Burnt Orange if we wanted to keep it a little bit more on the red side. Oh, that's a pretty color. Kind of more burgundy-ish color. I like using lots of different tones of the same, you know, same few colors. Just kind of helps give your flowers a little bit more richness. Get a little creative with the shadow colors. And if you look at your reference photo carefully, there are all these kind of different tones of red and orangey red and bright pink in there. So we're not making it up. We're just kind of trying to pull out all these, kind of exaggerating what's already there. Just a little bit. Very pretty. Okay, I need to darken this up quite a lot right in there, though. I'm seeing that it's quite dark in our photograph. So I'm just going to go in with that darker purple tone. Blend that in while I got it wet, and then wipe it off and pull along that. That red underneath was still wet, or the magenta underneath was still wet. I'm just kind of pulling a little bit of that over the top of it to blend it in. Okay, and then I can grab some of that lighter quinacridone. Blend those together. More. Okay. I want to end up with a darker area right where these petals are going down in, because those areas are going to be getting more shadow because they've got the other petal over the top of them. So be sure when you're doing it, you're giving them a little bit of shadow. So now I'm going to add in a little bit of the Quinacridone Red. And you can see how pretty that color is. It's got a really beautiful rosy tint to it. It's not a true red. Well, it is a red, but it's more of a rosy red. It's very close to magenta. I've had it for a while, just haven't pulled it out and used it, so I figured this would be the right one to do. I love that. Isn't that pretty? That was kind of equal parts of both of those magentas. Let's get a little bit of white. Mix that with the white. Do a little bit of the white tinting over the tip of these. And going a little bit lighter along that tip of this one. And then I'll switch to that darker color. Darker magenta there.
Why is the heat on?
Don't know. What?
I'm just banging around over here.
Yeah. It's all right.
So good news.
What?
Hopefully it's not too late to order. But if you're looking to give Valentine's Day gift ideas to your loved ones, the Beginner's Essentials set is back in stock at the Brush Guys.
Oh, nice.
So if you click the show more below this video, click on the Brush Guys link, and there's all the recommended brushes from Angela.
We will have an intermediate set out this year too. I just haven't told him which brushes. So if you've got some favorite brushes that you think like are your favorites that or maybe not the basic set. You know, you can look at the basic set that I've got. This one that I'm using is in the basic set. This one and this is Quinacridone Red right there, just by itself. Let me get some of the lighter color. Add that at the tip. So yeah, thinking of like having a grainier and, you know, some of the lesser used brushes, but that are still kind of that you'd want, you know, in a kind of beginner set or a intermediate set.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but I'm just saying that if, you know, people are going to spend $50 on a dozen roses that will die after a week or two.
It's true.
Or they can spend the $50 and get a set of brushes that will last a lot longer. Be able to use them over and over and over again.
Good idea, honey.
And then you got the code Angela Fine Art for 5% off. I'm just, you know, it's wise.
Just selling it, yep.
It's a business decision right there. It's the ROI, as we say at work.
A what?
ROI.
What is that?
The return on investment. And she had nothing to say.
I like flowers. I would like brushes though, if I wasn't.
I was going to get you some brushes.
Were you?
Mm-hmm. I was going to get you this beginner's essential set right here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's already half price when you buy them in a set.
I love you.
I love you too.
Right. Just kind of outlining those again. I'm finding that these are not wanting to show the lighter values, like they're wanting to go dark. So I'm going to have to go back in here with some of quite a lot of white in that, with the magenta to lighten up the tips of these. And I may use the Zinc White to do that because it's kind of a little bit more subtle sometimes. And then what we'll do is we'll glaze over it with the magenta. Whew, look at that. And just brighten that all up right there. So the white kind of lays that light base down, and then we can glaze over the top of it. Yeah, that should work, I think. What were you saying, hon?
Oh, just reiterating that if you had gone black on the background first, then it'd be even harder to get these lighter colors.
Exactly.
So don't make it difficult on yourself.
You could. You would just have to go through. What I would do if I painted my background black, I would outline the entire thing, just do the outline of it and paint the entire middle section white or orange, and then do your design over the top, and then transfer and then you'd have a head start. But really saving the black for last is just easier in general, I think. Okay, so getting some more of this Quinacridone Magenta here. It's working out pretty good. It's pretty close. It's not going to be exactly the same tone just because it's such a fluorescent flower. This is one of the hardest colors to mix, I find, is fuchsia. Is this kind of a fuchsia red color. The fluorescent color will get us close as we can get, probably. But using just the Quinacridone Magenta, as you can see, it's still going to be really pretty. And you can glaze with the Quinacridone Magenta just like I did with that fuchsia. over here. So I would go even brighter though, because if magenta is a little bit darker than the fuchsia is, you can see, you know, side by side how much darker that magenta is than that. So you just have to know that you've got to go that much lighter with your undercolor, your white undercolor base, in order for that magenta to be seen, because it'll darken up quite a lot. Hopefully that made sense. No, what I did there, because that wasn't.
If you were listening, it probably made sense.
Which you're not. You're going to wish you were taking notes next week. That's all I'm saying.
It's super simple, easy. Easy peasy.
Easy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I hope it will be. I really do. I think it's going to be a really good one to do.
All I'm saying is that I noticed that you didn't do like super easy beginner kindergarten level sponge and Q-tip with your husband. You went with black swans.
It's gonna be easy. Trust me. It's not gonna be hard. I can guarantee you we can do it.
I'm kind of looking at the thumbnail.
Mm-hmm. You're only going to have to do black half of one. You're only going to have to do one swan. I get to do the other. I'm going to show you how to do mine. I'll do mine, and then you'll do yours, and I'll come over and help you with yours and like help guide you through it. So it'll take a little bit longer because I'll be, stopping what I'm doing to help you, but it's going to be more like it would be in a natural classroom setting, the way I would teach it if I was doing, it in a classroom. So okay. I think it'll be good for the live shows because I don't get to do that in my shows. I don't get to slow down and kind of, really take my time explaining things because I'm, trying to get it done as fast as I can, but is not necessarily always conducive to somebody who's learning it for the first time, I take my time more on the beginner stuff than these ones here. I'm assuming that you already know kind of how to hold your brush and that kind of thing on these ones that are going to be, 2 or 3 hour long paintings. The ones that are an hour long, so I get questions a lot about, which paintings are easier and stuff. But if it says easy in the title, or if it says beginner, or if it's an hour, you can tell that that's going to be a lot easier than the ones that are 2 or 3 hours, and that don't say easy in the titles. Those ones are going to be ones that you probably want to save until you've got a couple paintings under your belt, or 12.
So the swan painting doesn't say easy in it.
It doesn't? Oh, I had to fit in a lot of stuff in that title. I was trying to couples paint night. I should add easy to it. I will add easy to it. It's going to be easy. I'm going to simplify it. It's not going to be super difficult.
Okay.
I know my student level here on this one. Don't have high expectations on it. Mark's not bad, actually. He's pretty darn.
I'm a preschooler in an adult body.
You're going to do fine. I think it'll be fun. It'll be a good judge for if anybody wants to try to rope their husband into doing it with them. Like I said, if I can get Mark to do it with me, I think you should be able to do it. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead, and this is the lighter magenta here, like white with magenta here. Just kind of switching off different colors that I'm using. Might get a little bit more of that just straight dark magenta. Use that down here and pull up the opposite way. little bit of that purple right in here. That shadow right there is pretty dark. Same thing with this one. I'm just setting my brush down and kind of flicking it out so that I get this kind of broken edge, and that helps it blend. So when I put my next color on, I don't have a straight line there to contend with. So when you're doing this, just kind of keep these outer edges kind of soft, and that just makes it that much easier when you do your next layer. Getting some of that Quinacridone Red mixed in my Quinacridone Magenta and going in the opposite direction here. And I'm probably, like I said, gonna do like I did over here. I'm gonna do another layer of white over the top of this and then glaze it. So this is not the finished product. This is just our first layer here. But we're trying to get this as close to finish as we can so we don't have as much to do later. So and I'm always blending in towards the center. So I'm not blending my petals this way. I'm blending them in so that they've got these kind of natural creases and folds and lines in the petals. So I always want to kind of mimic those, and if I remember to blend in that direction, then when I do have little, imperfections and things that are happening, then it'll look like that's part of that fold or that natural line of the petal. Right. Just adding a little bit of lighter color along the edge there. Trying to go as fast as I can here. I know this one's got a lot of petals, so it's gonna take a minute to get them all in here. Brush is almost too big for this. It's kind of a catch-22. You want a brush that's big enough that it covers quickly for you, but then if it's too big to fit into the area comfortably, then you have issues with it. I think this one. Kind of borderline, too big. Some of that darker. And let's this is actually going over the top of it right there. This is like that. Okay. Wiping that off and just blending that in a little bit. Just added some of that light color because I already had it on my brush. Putting it over here where I knew we'd want some more. And some streaks. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Okay.
Just hanging out over here.
Chat's not very talkative today.
Oh,
I haven't had a lot of questions.
no. No.
And I've gotten more comments about the fact that a koala is not a bear. I will change it. It's like, I just came out with my new schedule. I got so many emails back. And somebody even sent me an article, like the Wikipedia definition of a marsupial.
That is precious.
I know. Like I believed you. I knew that. I even mentioned it last week, but if it's making enough people mad, I guess I'll just change it.
Oh, no, leave it.
It's a koala bear is kind of an Americanized version. I only put it because I thought that it would be easier. People searching for koala bear, which they're going to do, would be, searching for that. I think it's just an Americanized kind of...
Oh, I think just because of that comment, we leave it.
We leave it?
Yeah, just to irritate them.
It's people. They're nice. They're trying to help me look more educated.
They're the marsupial police.
They're the marsupial police. Yeah, that's all right.
Sorry.
It's just funny to me. I should have replied. I didn't reply. I just chalked it up to...
Okay, somebody
mindfulness.
said that in your art taking flight tutorial, the
Yes.
last one, you talked about a light that you have. Which light did you talk about?
A light that I have?
Yeah.
Maybe light bulbs? Oh, probably the color one they're talking about?
I don't know. They
said it was in the art taking flight?
Yeah, on Thursday.
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember talking about a light.
Is it this light right here? This one that you don't use?
Could be my Ott light.
The Ott light?
And it's OTTLITE. Whoops, I can't get it. It's stuck. If I unplug everything, I can't get it quite there.
Zoom out a little bit.
I don't know. I can't get it. There we go. Here we go. Mine's really old. I got it at a yard sale, and it's got like a fluorescent bulb on it. But the bulbs are really good. And I stuck a fortune cookie on it that says "Actions speak louder than talks." It's like my favorite.
What are your favorite fortunes from a fortune cookie?
Fortune cookies that I've ever gotten.
Actions speak louder than talks.
Yep.
I think my battery died in my...
In your what?
In my remote control. with the zoomer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not zooming.
My camera? Uh-oh. That's all right.
Okay, so now they came back and said it's
Definitely
during the color mixing session. So
Yeah,
it
that's what I
was
thought.
just
Right. Yeah. The color mixing one, I was talking about my light bulbs. So we got some can lights for the studio. We added actually how many? 9, 8,
yeah,
9. I can't remember.
8
can lights, and then we got some really high watt regular bulbs for the ceiling fan. I mean, they're so bright you can't look at them straight on and burn your retinas. They're so bright. You see spots. Really, they're all like that. So I get the highest. I think they're like 150 watt. Like if you were to get a normal watt bulb, 150, and then they're 5,000 Kelvin color. That's the warmth of them. Also, wish that I had known this, but you want to also look at the CRI of your bulbs when you're buying them. I did not know this until after I'd bought them. I think mine are in the 85 range, which is okay, but not great. 90 is really where you want to be or higher with your bulbs, because that means you've got the full color spectrum. So some bulbs, like your regular bulbs you're going to get at Walmart, will probably be, well, depending, I found with light bulbs, you get what you pay for. So the cheaper the bulbs, the lower the everything's going to be on them. The lower the watt and the lower the CRI, they're going to be like probably 70-ish or something like that in there, which will dull all your colors. So, and the light, the Kelvin, it has, I don't know how it relates exactly, but I'm not an expert on light bulbs, but I really did research a lot when we were doing the new studio. And so I know enough to sound like I know what I'm talking about, but all I do know is that CRI is something that you want to look at too. And I did not realize that was as important as the Kelvin, the warmth. Basically the warmth will, the Kelvins will get it so it's not casting too much blue or too much yellow light on, and then the CRI allows all of the more colors to be visible, I guess, in that spectrum.
So the CRI stands for Color Rendering Index.
Thank you.
And is a quantitative measure in the ability of the light source to reveal the colors of various objects.
Right.
Faithfully in comparison with an ideal or natural light source. The light source with a high CRI are desirable in color critical applications.
Yes. Like what we're doing.
Yes, such as neonatal care and art restoration. I'm like, okay, so...
Neonatal care?
Yes.
Why is color important? I guess maybe to check for jaundice?
Maybe, but I think they're two totally different scales of importance.
Yeah.
Saving babies and art.
True.
But anyways. Uh-huh. So yeah, the Kelvin is, warm light, cool light. You want it more daylight, which is closer to the 6500 scale. And then the higher CRI, which will give you a more realistic look to everything.
Yeah.
And we'll see if we have any recommendations that we can put in the Amazon store. We've had some requests for that.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that. I can put in, if not the exact bulbs, I can put in the ones that we put in the living room, and they're pretty good.
Yeah, so
I've been happy with them.
In the studio, we have 8 can lights with that high intensity lights. Then we have the 4 lights in the ceiling fan.
Right.
3 other lights in normal light
Lamps.
And then we have LED.
2 LED banks that are
It's like super intense. So
Yeah, those are big. Like they're about 12-inch square.
Yeah.
One's a ring, and one's a square. And the ring is for like selfies, so it's got a space in the middle if you put your camera. But I don't use it. I just put it up in front of my where I'm sitting, so that if I do webcam stuff, my face is lit up. And then the other one is kind of off to this side. And it's not pointing straight down on here. If I pointed it straight down on here, there's really heavy shadows that get cast. So it's kind of bounced off that wall. It's kind of at an angle, and it kind of bounces back onto here. And it's at full power too. So, and then I've got two other smaller lights that have 150 bulbs in them, in one in the upper corner and one right here. So right above me, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 lights. So that's how many, just to get it so that I'm hitting it from all angles, so I don't have a lot of shadow on here. And you still can't get rid of all the shadow, but you can get rid of most of it if you can kind of get your light coming in from all the different directions. Yeah, there's all the lights. Well, most of them. There's another one down here.
But that's a square one.
And then the ceiling fan above me there. Yeah. So, yeah, but mainly you don't want anything less than 5,000 Kelvin lights, warmth.
And they're all LEDs. So
They're all LEDs.
It keeps cool in here.
And when I had the incandescent lights, holy moly, I used to get so hot, and I'd have to have the fan run in, which you could hear in the background of some of my very first videos. You can, like, probably 2 out of 10 comments on those first videos were like, what is that noise in the background? Because that stinking fan was so loud. And I'm like, yeah, it was necessary, believe me. It got so hot in that studio. As soon as we changed to the LED, it was like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe we did that for so long. It was night and day difference. Fluorescent would be, there's actually some decent fluorescent lights too that you can get. So fluorescent's another option besides LED.
And here's a cool trick if you don't know, that you can record your LED lights in slow-mo on your phone.
Oh, God.
And they flicker.
Mm-hmm.
You can see what your eyes are actually seeing.
Okay.
Just saying.
That's for the engineers in the audience.
Wow. Really? See, you can show them because they're going to like that.
I don't think so, honey.
Okay, then I'm going to put it inside cam.
Okay. It's really not that interesting.
Oh, of course it is.
Okay. What are you doing? That's fascinating.
It is.
Stop.
Oh, just wait till next Saturday.
You're going to get so many comments about how annoying you are this week. And I'm going to be like, you're right. You're so right. I should fire him.
Okay, so just to prove it wrong,
What?
we need some super chat donations to show how much you love this super slow-mo.
No, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't.
If you want more super slow-mo.
Stop it. Don't listen to him. Don't encourage him. Now I'm going to get comments about how mean I am to you. I remember that one. We got a comment once that said I was degrading you or something like that. I can't remember what it was. I was like, if you only knew. Okay.
maybe I deserve it sometimes.
Oh my gosh. So funny. You've been married 30 years. Plus, you gotta be able to laugh about it. Laugh with each other.
So we talk about the raised beds that we're trying to build?
We can. I'm going through here and adding this dark purple to the center part here, just kind of going through here. I stalled out. I need to go back in here and finish all these background ones, but just kind of adding some dark areas to some of these. I've got a little spot here that I missed, and it's not one to cover because these colors are so transparent. So if you have that issue, you may just have to add a little bit of white to your paint, and you can get it to cover, and then you can always go back in and blend it all out later. So like right in there, that little corner didn't want to cover with that. The quinacridones are super transparent, and so is the Dioxazine Purple is not as transparent, but it's also transparent. So you've got all these transparent colors. Sometimes it can be hard to get them to cover, which is going to be great for when we do our glazing, and you can see how much of that orange is showing through right there. It's going to be beautiful. I'm having a really hard time getting those to blend out though. So I'm going to get more of my white and my magenta here. I need to put some more magenta out. And I'm just going to pull from this outside edge and just go over the top of that with that lighter color and just let that kind of settle those in. And that white helps it cover. Okay. And I don't have to even blend it in all the way. I'm just going to kind of go over that edge there and hope for the best. I'm going to get a little bit of the red, add along that edge. Okay. Let's keep going around here. Now Mark's not talking to me.
No, you're actually, teaching about painting on your painting channel, so
Good.
I think people would want to hear what you were saying.
Probably. If they're trying to paint along, it'd probably be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so just going through here with some of the white. This second layer here, we're going to have a lot of white along those edges, so we'll put down that color and then we'll come back in and do this light area here. I think that orange is gonna work really well. I'm excited. Okay. Put out some fresh paint. You can tell them about our raised beds. We're on a health food kick right now.
Yeah.
We've been eating terrible. And when we did the renovation last year, we had about 6 months of eating nonstop fast food, takeout stuff, and we both gained weight and felt horrible. So we decided to eat lots of veggies and fruits. So we're going to plant a garden this year.
Yep.
And we've been doing good for it's a whole month. And
I find your stash of snacks in here.
Those are old.
Up there. Yeah, I threw away the chips that were dated for August.
You can have nuts. You can have certain things. Some cheeses. It's not like really a super strict diet. It's pretty nice because we can pretty much eat as much veggies as we want, as long as they're not starchy, and lots of fruit. So I definitely feel a lot better. Not as tired. It's amazing.
Yeah, I guess somebody said happy anniversary for being on Patreon.
Oh, thank you. I can't believe it's been 3 years. It just feels like yesterday that we started on there. But yeah, we did the math and we're like, wow, 3 years. It's incredible. So we have been doing for 3 years. We've been doing almost 3 videos a week, 2 to 3 videos a week nonstop for 3 years. That's a lot. Before that, we did almost a full year of YouTube twice a week before we even did Patreon, because I was like, I need to be sure that I can keep up with that schedule, you know, like, because before that I was doing maybe one a week, I think. And so I was like, I want to be sure I wasn't going to offer something that I couldn't deliver, you know. So we didn't add a whole lot. We just added one video a month at first. And then the Facebook group where I added kind of an art chat type of thing. And that's morphed into a 1 video a month thing too. So basically Patreon added 2 videos a month to our regular 2 a week schedule. And those 2 videos are ones that are long, like 4 to 7, 8 hours each, depending on, you know.
More than 4 hours.
More than 4 hours. Usually 5 hours for the bonus video and 6 to 8 hours for the
Facebook one.
For the Facebook group. Yeah. This is the Facebook group one here we just finished. And this was the bonus video from last month. So those are 2 that we did. So you won't see those on YouTube. Those are on my Crowdcast. We do all of our Patreon stuff on Crowdcast. It's live also, so we still have the same format. Get to chat. It's actually smaller groups because it's paid, you know, paid access. So it's smaller and a little bit more intimate. We're a little bit more interactive with questions and stuff. And the folks in there. But all right. Whew. An hour down. At least 1 more to go. Maybe 2. I don't know. We'll see. I'm hoping to get this as close to 2 hours as possible. I don't think it's going to happen, but we'll see. I'm going to try. All right. More Quinacridone Magenta. A little bit of the purple. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of the Quinacridone Red too. My Quinacridone Red is that's another reason why I pulled it out, because it's starting to get old. The cap busted. This was the old. Well, they've improved their caps. They don't do what every single one of my golden caps busted, and so it made the paint kind of thick. Before I realized what happened, then I had to go and hot glue them all. So none of them are very pretty, and they're all a little bit dry. That happened about 4 years ago, so they're also older paints, and I've had them for a while, so I need to, that's why I'm using it today, because I'm like, I need to use those before they go bad. So I'm going to be pulling out some paints that I don't maybe normally use every now and then. And I am, if you're buying your reds this year, like if you run out of red and you're buying it, I would say Quinacridone Red's probably one of the ones we're going to start using more often. And then also Pyrrole. I'm going to be switching from Cadmium to Pyrrole Orange. And so Pyrrole Orange is a substitute for Cadmium Red Light, and Pyrrole Red is a substitute for Cadmium Red Medium. And those are going to be the new, just FYI. If you've been following along and you paint along with the videos, if you're buying paints this year, I would buy those. You can substitute them straight up. It's not going to change anything that I do in my videos. They're just going to be a little bit safer health-wise. Trying to get away from the cadmiums. I still haven't found a yellow that I like better than the cadmium yellows, so Hansa just too transparent, and the benzimidazolone doesn't have the tinting strength. So I just don't, the yellows are staying put for now until I find a yellow that I like better, but the reds are going to be changed out, because Pyrrole Red is actually what I was using when I very first started YouTube, and I switched it because I was doing collaboration with my friend Cinnamon Cooney, and she was using cadmium, so we were kind of combining our palettes so that we didn't have people buying a bunch of different colors, and that was one that just kind of started using and stuck with it. And then, so now I'm going back to.
So
sorry.
So we need to.
That was TMI. Nobody cared.
No, they did.
Okay.
They did, but we need to get Mona's Christmas present in the mail because her birthday's coming up.
Okay.
In a month, so.
I know.
We'll try to get
Mona,
to her.
I'm sorry.
And the other mods.
And the other mods. I'm so sorry. Y'all are awesome, and they've been so patient. And in my Christmas, I literally bought stuff like, I can't even remember. I've been buying stuff all year long. I was like, I'm going to send them the greatest Christmas package ever, and then I never sent any of the stuff that I'd bought all year long.
And some of it will have Cashmere's cat hair on it, because...
Probably.
She's been rubbing on it.
Yeah, she has been. Hopefully nobody's allergic to cats.
Oh, somebody asked Pyrrole Red and Pyrrole what?
Orange.
Orange.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Pyrrole Orange. Here, I'll show you.
And that's not to be confused with Blueberry Pie.
Right. There's Pyrrole Red. And there's Cadmium Red. So it's a little bit more vibrant, just slightly. It's kind of close. Actually, it's close to my fingernail polish color. And then here's the Cadmium Red Light and the Pyrrole Orange. So it's almost in between this and this for the orange. Cadmium Orange is still pretty much the only super bright orange like that. Like it's kind of got that yellow, but this one is really well mixable. And so I think if you add some yellow to it, you could get it close to that. That's also, yeah. So anyhow, I'm not going to talk about colors. And we had fun last Tuesday. I had fun. I hope that it made it all sense to. I've gotten some good feedback about it, so hopefully, I didn't go too fast for folks and they actually learned something with our color mixing video. But if you have any color mixing questions like that you may go by and watch that. It was like an hour and 40 minutes about straight up color mixing. Lots and lots of questions and lots of interesting color combinations, and talked about kind of things to avoid muddy colors and that kind of thing. So I had fun. Hopefully everybody else did too. Mark was ready for dinner by the end. He was calling for dinner, so we had to stop. But if you enjoyed that one and want to see more videos like that, let me know, because I'd like to do some more kind of just straight up informative stuff, you know, how to use traceables or whatever, or just kind of simple basic acrylic painting techniques, maybe some different brushstroke. I do have a brushstroke video, but maybe some of the ones that I use in some of these videos. I have one about blending already. I have one about mixing a color chart. So I've got several that are kind of the basic acrylic painting stuff out there, but I'd also always like to know if those are something you guys would like to see or not. And if you're commenting in the comments, Mark needs to let me know what people are saying.
They said yes.
They've enjoyed it?
One person said yes.
One person said yes. Okay.
2 people.
Okay.
And Mona said that she's allergic to cats. So,
Uh-oh.
So we'll have to clean them off really well.
Uh-huh. Okay. You need to stop letting Cashmere bite next to those presents then. I think everything's bagged up, so most everything is still in its packages. So even if the outside of it has little, I'll make sure that there's no cat hairs. Mona sent me a really cute, Mona's chocolate's already gone, by the way. Thank you for that. And the nice thing is that the dark chocolate's kind of okay on the diet we're doing, so in moderation. I savored it. It was awesome. It's like the only sweet thing I had all day.
Oh,
Myself
that
have one little square of Mona's chocolate.
and me.
The I'm not touching that. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. I think that's working out all right. I kind of went a little bit dark right here on this one. I need to leave a little bit more of that orangey showing through, not cover up so much of that. Like this one got a little bit dark here. So I'm going to grab some of that Cadmium Red medium and some of the Quinacridone Orange or Quinacridone Red. I'm just going to put that other color back in, right in here, that kind of glow. Okay. Yeah, see, it's definitely not as pretty over the top as it is underneath. So, and then just using the quinacridone with a little bit of glaze. I think I just need to go slow on these upper ones here and glaze them in layers. So we get that nice orangey color coming through. There we go. See how much brighter that is than that one. That one was, we covered over most of that orange underneath and we added the orange on top. So it just wasn't nearly as pretty. I'm going to get a little bit of the Quinacridone Red and just going to cover that one with some white. Pulling some lines through here with some streaks. This is just Quinacridone Red with a little bit of white, or really a lot of white, and Quinacridone Red right there. All right. And then putting a little bit of the orange on top. There we go. Okay. I have to say these colors are a little bit tricky to work with. To get this, to keep this vibrancy, they want to go dull on me. So it's interesting trying to get them just right. Going in here with that dark burgundy color. I'm just putting it along that edge there where these two are overlapping. Getting some of the lighter color, really just kind of more straight up magenta. There we go. You, all right. I was, oh, okay. Well, I did this one down here. It was off.
Well, it looks like all the others.
Okay.
They wanted to zoom in for the blending.
I did think about cutting this off. I thought you could do a half canvas and it would look nice, you know, just like part of the blooms peeking through. Right about now, I'm kind of wishing I'd done that, but I'll be glad I didn't, because I've got several other full size flowers that I've done this year. Did the sunflower and calla lily. I've got a orange oriental poppy that we did. So I've got several that I'm gonna hang all together in the house when I find a spare spot for them. Just do a little bit of the lighter color on the very tips. Pulling it in toward the center a little bit. There. What?
They want me to rotate the reference photo while you're rotating the canvas.
You could. Okay, do you see what's happening right there? You see how I'm getting this little white spot right there? What happened there is that this color that I had originally put down was drying, and I touched it while it was drying. So I didn't blend it in time for to catch it. So I could do a couple different things. I'm gonna try going in with some really thicker layer and just cover over that whole thing and blend that whole area in. And then I'll have to go back in and add that dark again. In that area, you just have to be careful not to touch over paint that's drying. I know better, but I was fiddling with this stuff over here and didn't realize that it already started to dry.
So somebody would like to know, what would the luminous color look like on its own?
Okay, I'll do that.
I said bright.
Bright?
That's what I said. Or very luminous.
So that's that, and then I would have to go over it. What I'm planning on doing is doing, and I'm not quite there yet, but I've got some of these over here where I've got some of the lighter color. I'm planning on going over the top of these with it at the end, so that I've got the dark. It's really transparent, so it's gonna leave our values pretty intact. It's not going to shift our values too much. So we can go over the top of these areas here with it. Definitely, like on this one here, it's going to really shine. I was really just saving it for kind of toward the end, but you can kind of get an idea of what it's going to do. Like that. So it's pretty similar. Of course, this one doesn't have any shading now, so we'll have to go back over it with the magenta to add some shading into it. And we'll still have to add some lighter areas. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it may be, especially in that center area, it may be good to do it first. Make sure my brush strokes are going in the right direction. And I'll definitely have to go back in and shadow back in some of these areas too, because it definitely dulled down some of those areas there. I'm going to use the Quinacridone Magenta and the Cadmium, or the Quinacridone Red here, and just touch over these purple areas. Make sure that I've got some separation between these petals. It's starting to come along. So I just don't really care for this like blotchiness here. So all these parts here, I'm gonna need a second coat on them to kind of smooth out some of that blotchiness that I'm seeing. But we're getting close. I'm just using the quinacridones here, both the red and the magenta. A little bit of the purple right in here. And a little bit of the brighter color along that outer edge. Added a little bit of the magenta into the fluorescent magenta. Okay. I'm using some of that fluorescent. I'm just going to go with a light coat right now. Build up our layers. Always pulling down towards the center. How you doing, hun?
Fantastic.
Good. Got some in my...
Looks like you did the proper planification.
I did what?
The proper planification for this.
Mark was saying that's a Franglish word.
But it's actually a fully French. We learned after that.
Yeah. He works for a French company, so he gets a lot of Franglish happening.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you've become fluent in it.
Oh, yeah.
What are your favorite Franglish terms?
Oh, I don't know off the top of my head. I may need to keep my job a little bit longer.
Yeah. You don't want to make fun of your bosses on
Of course
live.
not.
Yeah.
No, there's nothing to make fun of.
Probably smart on. Well,
Now you mean my
I can
bosses
imagine
there,
your what would it be in reverse when you're trying to speak French?
really, really bad.
Exactly. So
Buongiorno.
as long as they're taking the trouble to learn your language, then I wouldn't complain too much, I guess.
Oh, no, yeah.
It's funny. All right. A little bit brighter with these in here, but just trying to get everything kind of covered. Well, that is just like one big petal right there. No definition whatsoever. Crazy. Let's go ahead and use some of this. And this is a little bit more fluid too. I didn't mention that to begin with, but it's good for glazing too because it's a little bit thinner, so I have to thin it down
And
very much.
Is that fluorescent one a golden paint also?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Comes in a tub though. It's the smallest you can get it. So you got a lot of it.
So is that a fluid one?
No.
No? Oh, ooh,
It's
okay.
not.
I noticed that you had another little tube over there. You're not using that one?
No, because it dried out. I don't recommend getting them in the fluids because they dry out. They separate and then they dry out before you can use them. That's the one we got in that class. Remember? So this little high flow acrylics, I bought several of them, and then we got this one, and I was like, okay, I'm going to keep shaking it and make sure that I don't let it dry out. Nope, it dried out. So it's big solids in there. Big chunks of color.
So it could be like a chalk.
I mean, I probably could still use it, but no, I already stirred it up. It's like big chunks inside. Okay, I'm going to go with a smaller brush now. It'll make the rest of this a little bit easier. Yeah, it's chunky. And when I talked to the rep, he was just like, yep, that happens if you don't shake it. So pretty much like once it happens, you're screwed.
It sounds like there's something in
Well, there is, but it's like when you stir it, it's like,
oh, okay, it's like a
it's
spray
like
paint.
going through clay. It's like super thick.
Oh.
It doesn't want to separate for you. So yeah, I would definitely do these, not the high flow. I've had this one for almost as long as it hasn't had any issues.
So these paints would be
At all.
good in like California where they get a lot of earthquakes because they'll just shake themselves.
Ha ha ha. But the only thing with the fluorescents you just need to know is that they'll lose their vibrancy after a few years. I don't know how long.
Kind of like me. Just don't know how long.
But they don't stay as vivid forever. So that, like the rest of the paints that we're using, the golden, regular golden acrylics will be excellent light fastness, which means you'll set it out in your house regular daylight conditions and you shouldn't see any fading, at least not in your lifetime. And if you use a UV protected and don't put it outside, in the direct sunlight, you shouldn't see any color shift. With these ones, there'll be some color shift eventually over some years. Not sure how long, but
Okay, so they're not as fast as light. Okay, I got it. I was confused. Sorry. You're still using your angle brush?
I am. I switched to a smaller one.
A smaller angle brush.
Yes, so this is the 1/4 inch, and I've got Quinacridone Magenta here. And I think I'm going to float it. So I'm going to start out with a clean brush and get some glazing medium, and then I'm going to just dip the tip into the magenta and then brush it out on my palettes, and then I can use the back end of a paper towel just to kind of clean off that back end so that I have ombre here, and I can just kind of float it along that edge so that the color is brightest. You can't even see that.
That's one tough ombre.
You are in rare form today, honey.
You're welcome.
Nothing to say to that. Just a fast way of blending that color in without having to blend it through the whole thing. Just use it on the tip of the brush.
Someone has asked, do you think fluorescent pink acrylic ink would work also?
Yeah. Yeah, any of the acrylics you can interchange, so for sure you can use those. You can use inks, acrylic paints together. No problem. And if you get a little bit along that edge, you can just use your finger and kind of rub it into. I'm gonna color in some of these spaces in between the flowers. You can put your color on and then kind of just use a damp brush and push it out, blend it out too. That can be a way to do it too. Get that same effect. Well, that is just, it's super fluorescent and it's like not wanting to show up on the camera. Super fluorescent. I'm going to get a little bit of the fluorescent and add white and a little bit of the Quinacridone Magenta too. And I'm just going to use along that edge.
So I was really paying attention earlier, but I remember you talking about the light fastness being good on that paint over there.
On what paint?
On the paint that you're using?
It's not good on the fluorescent paints.
Okay.
Any fluorescent paints.
Correct. Okay. Okay, because I just read that on the bottle. I'm keeping up. Don't worry.
No, the fluorescent paints, you're not going to have them. Which makes me wonder, because we bought some art in our house that I know that the artist used fluorescent.
Uh-oh.
So those bird paintings that we bought last year have
Well,
fluorescent paint.
we need to bury them. So they stay good.
No. Yes, we should do an appeal for that art, that garden channel that we like to watch. Like, we should probably contact them. It'd be really fun to do some sort of a collab with them. There's a garden channel that Mark's been watching. They're from Arkansas too. Be really fun.
They've encouraged us to start gardening again.
Yes.
They don't know it yet, but
It's been a while. We did really good. We did a garden for several years, and then kind of got weeds in it, and my flowers sort of took over some part of it.
yeah, somebody planted flowers in it.
That was only after we'd gone a whole season without using it, so.
And the reasoning was to attract bees and stuff, but they kind of took over.
They did. I ordered just as many flower seeds as I did vegetable seeds again, so we'll have to plan accordingly. I'm using the Quinacridone Magenta here, just going in and kind of darkening up these petals here slowly, so I don't cover up all of the nice vibrancy that we're getting. I definitely like that orange glow underneath. It's added zing of color that wouldn't be there normally. It just makes it a little bit more in your face bright. Do some kind of medium magenta here in this area. You can see how just that white kind of dulls that color down quite a bit. Use that darker magenta here, just straight up magenta. Yeah, if you get too much on there, you can just take your wet brush and kind of lift off that color with a little bit of water. While it's still wet, it'll come off. And you can kind of push it around. Okay. I did order some zinnias too. So, ordered 3 kinds of zinnias. One's kind of like this, only has white along the tips. It's like this bright hot pink color with white tips. And then 2 of them are lime green centers with red or orange on the outside. So, I'm excited. I think it's going to be cool. I'm excited to have flowers again. Okay, getting some of that fluorescent, mixed it in with the magenta.
Okay, the Black Knight would like to know, what is your favorite color?
What's my favorite color? My favorite color, Mark could probably tell you.
No, I can't.
You can't?
No.
It's like all of my mugs and our dishes and
Blue.
teal. Like aqua. Soft. Aqua blue. Yep. Which you see in a lot of my videos. If you go through. It's a recurring theme. Yeah, I don't know if it's... I kind of feel like it's a little bit easier to just glaze the... It's a little bit trickier to, I think, to get the color on top. I don't know. It's probably 50-50. You could try both ways and see if you like having the magenta down first or if you like building up on top. The only thing with the building up to it is that you definitely need to make sure you don't cover all of the light areas before you get the magenta on there. So having it on there and darkening it is I just think it's a little bit more tricky.
Somebody asked if there is a difference between fluorescent pink and fluorescent magenta.
Yes, that was, hand me that color again. That's the fluorescent pink. I don't know if you can see here. I'll put it on my palette. You can tell. The fluorescent pink is much more, well, and it's not. I'll put it over here. You can see.
Oh, yeah.
That camera is not picking up the colors at all.
No,
that color looks way different. Like not even close. Wow. That's wild. It's way more pink. I don't understand. Like way more Pepto-Bismol pink. Yeah. Is it showing up on this one? No, it's not on there either. I guess our camera just can't pick it up. It probably can't get that light, whatever the frequency is of the light. Is, you know, that's wild. Because they look almost the same on the camera there. All right, let's do this one here. So this one is going to be really dark underneath. So I'm going to get that Quinacridone Red. I need to keep spraying my paint so they don't dry out on me. clean my brush off. And just use that clean brush to kind of push that paint around.
What the heck was that?
I don't know.
My phone wants to add sound, hip and cool sounds to the slow-mo videos
No, thank you.
for some reason.
It's doing slow-mo video of what?
Well, I was trying to close the camera app and I accidentally hit the play slow-mo of the lights I did earlier.
I see.
And then for some
Added
reason
music to it.
added music to it.
Lovely. Okay, I'm trying to see what this is. I don't even see this one. Okay, there it is. So it goes all the way up here and around. And the magenta, I'm just gonna run that between these petals.
Someone has asked if you were going to do any paintings with the true blue this year.
I already did actually. The Pantone color of the year.
Okay.
Is that what they're talking about?
Sure.
I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the very last painting of last year, the forest painting, magical forest painting, was in that tone, and then there was another one. What was it? What did we do? I thought there was another one that we did too that was in that same color family. This color is behind this one. This petal's on top. So the color's going on this one that's behind. I know I did another one and I can't. Oh, the romantic, the Christmas time one with the lamp. That one was in that color family. And then the nighttime Venice that we're going to do next month, towards the end of the month. It's in that color family. It's not called blue, but it is. It's that blue. And basically it's like if you're trying to mix it, I think that it's pretty close to like Ultramarine Blue and Phthalo Blue combined, just equal parts. I think that's probably going to be fairly close to it. You may need to darken it a little bit, but okay. This petal, I have no idea what it's doing. Where is it? It is all messed up. Okay, so it's supposed to go right here. I lost it completely when I did that center thing. Okay, so it goes all the way out here. So it starts here and it goes out there. And then goes on top of that. Yeah, this color looks so weird on here. Doesn't look right. On the camera is not picking up the same color I'm using down here. Looks really different. It's interesting. So note to self, don't film with fluorescents anymore. I don't want to.
Do I need to get the black light out?
No, maybe.
I don't have one.
No, I don't either. Okay, I want to go really dark right here. I'm getting that dark, dark purple. Just running some lines through. And if you need to, you can kind of blend them out a little bit, but just making sure that all of this in the center here is really dark. That's what'll give your flower more depth. Gotta have that dark color in there to create that depth. And it is in our photograph, so I'm not making this up. And I'm gonna go ahead and add it to our center of our flower too. Dabbing it. I've really kind of covered up most of that border, but really there's a lot of that dark color underneath that yellow, so I'm just gonna have to work to get that yellow to pop up against it. I'm gonna have to add a lot of white to my yellow to get it to show up. Okay.
So somebody asked that if they spray their canvas with like a UV protecting varnish, would that help with the light fastness?
No, it'll actually remove the what I read was that it would remove the fluorescent, I don't know, qualities. So it wouldn't show up under black light or anything.
It wouldn't fluoresce.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yes. So yeah, I was trying to see how long it said that they lasted, but it didn't. I couldn't really find anything that said it definitively. It may be out there, I'm sure it is, but I just couldn't find it in my limited search yesterday. So when I was deciding whether or not to use it or not, I was like, I don't like to use colors that I know are going to fade, but at the same time, they are pretty spectacular while they last, so. Adding a little bit of the Quinacridone Red here. That color was just a little bit dark for back in here. Just trying to get a balance. And like I said, I'm trying to kind of even out the tones that I'm seeing in these streaks in these background areas. So adding a second coat here of the same colors, which is that Quinacridone Magenta and Quinacridone Red with some of the purple if needed in the darkest areas. And get a smooth coverage. Okay. Get the Quinacridone Magenta. I'm going to add a little bit of the fluorescent. So now adding some of this highlight color back in, right up in next to the dark, and it'll pop that edge right out. So we have the dark on this side and the light on this side, and that'll pop that petal forward. Okay. Getting close. Some of the magenta and magenta. Two of them in this darkish area back here. Okay, and then this petal here needs to be highlighted to bring it forward. It's hiding back here.
Did you suggest any alternative color if they do not have fluorescence?
Yeah, I just used the Quinacridone Magenta.
Okay.
Yeah. You could add a little bit of orange to it if you want, you know, to brighten it up. But having the orange underneath is helping quite a bit. So... you did the orange like that, and then have the more Quinacridone. Quinacridone Magenta. And just very light to start with. You can get something, you know, pretty vivid. It's not going to be, you know, as bright as the fluorescent, but it's neon, so, you know, there's not going to be a color that's as bright as the neons. It's just not going to, you know. Really no way to mix them exactly, but the magenta I think will be a nice substitute. I do it just the same as I'm doing with the fluorescent. Glaze it over the top in the bright areas, so it really stands out. Okay, let's use the Zinc White now, just straight up Zinc White. I'm going to use it in some of these areas where I want a highlight to go. I'm use it very sparingly, so it's full strength, but since it's transparent, it'll be a little bit softer than if we use the titanium white. And I'm setting my brush down and just kind of flicking it in towards the center to give it a little bit of that kind of broken edge. Set it down where you want that color bright and just kind of lightly flick it towards where you want the highlight to go. This is all going to be, oops, this is the wrong one. Oh well. This is the one that, and we may have to go back in and darken up some of the areas. We'll see once we do our glaze. We may need more of the dark in some of these areas. I'm thinking we probably will. But and some of these I'm not going all the way to the very tip. I'm going just inside the edge. And I'm going to add just a little bit of it in streaks. We might do it and then come back in and do another layer that's a little bit brighter right in the middle there. These outer ones are not going to have as much of it, but there is going to be a little bit. So basically get everything kind of sort of where you think it's almost done and then do this. So this is going to be like one of the last things you do on the petals. And then we can always, like I said, glaze it again with the darker if we need to, which I'm assuming we probably will want to. You could also use a Filbert brush for this. Give it a little bit softer look. We've already glazed over that area once, so probably don't need to do a whole lot more to it, but won't hurt. How you doing, hon?
I am doing okay.
Okay. You getting psyched out for the glazing here?
Oh man.
It's going to be exciting.
Oh
Just
yeah,
wait.
I'm gonna probably lose it.
Not quite Super Bowl excitement, but close, huh?
Oh. More than that.
More than Super Bowl.
Oh yeah.
It's true, we're not very big Super Bowl fans, so. It's like the only time of year we ever watch football. Like, feel like we have to watch it. And we watch for the commercials more than anything. Unless it's a team where we're really rooting for, but
I'm gonna have to have a cheat
Patriots
day.
are playing today. Patriots in Miami hasn't been in the Super Bowl in I don't know how long.
Yeah, you don't have to remind me.
It's Mark's team, but you grew up in New Hampshire, but you didn't root for the Patriots.
Correct.
You rooted for Miami.
Correct.
I never did understand that.
Because as I was becoming somewhat interested in football as a young lad, I was more interested in the excitement of the passing game.
Ah.
And so
Dan
Marino of the Miami Dolphins and Dan Fouts of the San Diego Chargers were the
exciting
people
guys.
who passed. Yeah, everybody else was running at the time of the Franco Harris's and John Riggins, and everybody was just running, and it was quite boring.
Okay, that was TMI. Sorry. I'm totally teasing you. Sorry.
Am I putting you to sleep?
They didn't know they were going to get a football history lesson.
Angela's over there falling asleep. Her eyes glazed over.
Yeah, I did. My eyes glazed over big time. All right, fluorescent pink here. And I'm just going to pretty much do the whole thing. And keep my brush strokes toward the middle like I normally do. And we may need to glaze a couple times to get it to the right consistency.
Wow, people are thanking you for stopping me. So we're about to block this person real quick here. Hold on a second.
You're welcome. Yep. Okay. Definitely working pretty good. Just adding the glazing liquid to keep it smooth. It just makes it go on a little bit smoother. I'm not thinning it out much with the glazing medium. I do like how that fluorescent is looking. And it does glaze nicely since it's so transparent. So the reason that I didn't just add white to the fluorescent color is because the white will dull it. So by glazing it, you're going to get a more vibrant color overall. Because that white's shining through the paint, you're seeing the white is just bringing it up instead of combining with it and kind of dulling it. The white is acting like a reflector underneath almost. Shining through it. Catching the light. Okay. I can definitely tell over here where I glazed it twice. Over here, you can see how much brighter these ones are than these up here. So I probably would kind of repeat. I might be able to, let me see if Zinc White looks with the Zinc White might work as a combo with this fluorescent color since we're using the Zinc White underneath. It's just not wanting to show up. It's showing up a little bit. Make sure your paint's not drying underneath before you do this. If it's tacky, don't try to paint over it yet. Let it dry fully first. But mine's doing all right. Okay. Fairly happy with that. This area down here ended up really dark, but it's actually pretty dark in our photograph if you look at it. So you can lighten it up if you want to a little bit, but I wouldn't do too much. I might just use a little bit of the magenta with some Zinc White here. I don't use Zinc White enough, I think, to mix highlight colors because it's in a color called Mixing White. It's half titanium white and half zinc white. So you could probably kind of do a version of that and use a little bit of each with your color that you want to highlight and see if it just, I think it gives a little bit softer softer white or softer highlight color. So it's just an idea. What? You were laughing at me. All right. Yeah, let me use a little bit of it right here. Bring it a little bit farther in. And then use that Quinacridone Magenta full strength. And just go through here and add it wherever you need to kind of separate out some of these petals a little bit. Should not have messed with that because it was starting to dry. Okay, I need to let all this dry because it's just been glazed, so I'll let it dry and we'll work on this middle part here while that's drying. Alright, so I'm going to switch to the number 4 round. Here I'm going to get some of this Quinacridone burnt orange, if I can get some clean. It's still there. Yep, it is. Mix some of that up. Maybe add just a little bit of the yellow oxide. If I can. It's all trying to dry up on me. Maybe add just a little bit of the Cadmium Red Light. Brighten it up. And I'm just going to use the tip of my brush to do these little squigglies out from the center, just over the top of that dark knot. And then I'm going to get some purple. Maybe a little bit of the burnt sienna. Okay, it's kind of mixed with that orangey color that I had too, and I'm going to use it in the center. Do the same thing, just kind of work my way around in a circle here. And I'm just using the very tip of it to just do some little squiggly lines. The center is almost solid. And then as I get around here, there's going to be darker. I want to make sure I'm keeping this symmetrical. I'm going to use a little bit of the burnt umber here. Get some yellow. Mix those two together. I'm going to start with that color and then I'm going to highlight these. So because the centers of these are dark. I'm not going to really go by the reference. I'm just going to do some random petals in this kind of flat, excuse you.
This is my elbow on the table.
I know.
But yeah, it does sound like that, doesn't it? It's all that healthy eating.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And just kind of do them in different directions, so they're all kind of pointing in different directions. I love it. Okay, then grabbing that yellow, adding some white to it. It's really bright. Clean that out. Fresh yellow because it's too sticky. There we go. This yellow is opaque, so fairly opaque. The most opaque of the yellows that I've used usually, so. Opaque colors tend to not mix very well. That's one of the reasons why you'll see a lot of the. I use transparent colors as often as I can. Transparent colors like the Quinacridones and Phthalos and Ultramarine is fairly transparent, and Dioxazine Purple somewhat. Let's see how transparent. Actually, that might be opaque. Yeah, it's more on the opaque side. Yeah, the Ultramarine Blue is more on the transparent side. Let me see where it's burnt over. I think it's more opaque. Yeah, it's way opaque. But since this cadmium is so opaque, it can cover over pretty well without having to add that white. So if you don't need to, I wouldn't add it. I would just leave it if it's covering for you. If it's not covering for you, then add white to it. And then you can always do this again over the top. I'm trying to hit the same spots that I did before, if I can, as close to. So then I'm just adding a little bit of highlight to those petals. These are all like little mini flowers almost clustered in. They kind of do this little 5-star thing. I didn't really do it super carefully because they're not really like super carefully planned out in our photograph. If you look at it carefully, you can kind of see the pattern, but it's not super noticeable. But you can see in some of these where I kind of clustered them together. And I'm going to do it one more time. Just really, I might add a little bit of this toned down version. A little bit, maybe a little bit of orange to it. To kind of warm it up a little bit. There we go. I love this part of the painting where it kind of starts to come together. And if you do too much, you can always glaze it, darken it up again, so. It's an option too. These are kind of tubular shaped. Oh, and then there's some smaller ones that are kind of starting to open toward the center, so just do a few random dots that are kind of toward the center area there, and there's some that are actually kind of somewhat green, so I'm going to get a little bit of that Ultramarine Blue. This is his star moment here, so we haven't used him yet. We could have used the Ultramarine Blue in some of our shadows, but we didn't end up needing it. And if you get some areas that need the darker color in there, you can get your dark color and just kind of tap in the purple back in. And then I'm going to glaze some purple with the burnt orange. Around the center a little bit, darken it up. It should be almost black down in here, so get it nice and dark. It's a little bit too light right now. How are you doing on?
Still doing good.
Good.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right, and then I'm gonna get some cadmium yellow or cadmium red light here, and just use it in some of these areas. Just dab in a little bit of that color. Just a little. Okay, did I miss anything? I'm just going to give it one more look through. I'm going to take my Quinacridone Magenta on this round brush and just going to go in here and add some and this is thinned out a little bit, so it's kind of like a glaze almost. Well, it is kind of is a glaze. And just darken in some areas where I see needs a little separation or colors bleeding together too much. And the nice thing about the layering with acrylics like this is just so you can do as many layers as you want to get that final effect the way you want it to be. So, you know, as long as you don't cover over all your light areas too quickly, you can really go through here and add more white, add more glaze, and go back and forth, and, you know, add even tints of other colors. So you could glaze with like some of the orange. If you got rid of all your orange tint, you know, you could glaze with some of the red. There's just all kinds of different things you can do to spice it up. So You don't have to stop where I'm stopping here today. I'm going to kind of quit while I'm ahead, while there's some daylight still.
Somebody's asked, why did you not use any black in the center?
I just don't like to use black in my pet flowers and things. If I can get away with using purple, or it's just a little bit. Black is a little bit of a dulling color. Purple keeps things a little bit more vibrant. So your eye will read it black, even though it's not. So, if you were to look at it, you would think that it was black, but, it doesn't have to be. And purple is the darkest color on the color scale, or whatever, the color wheel. True purple, I'm not talking about like the lavender or violets, that you'll see sometimes, that like dioxazine purple is almost black. It's super dark. You can see it on the palette there. It's there, right here versus the black. So I just find using a color instead of black is just a little bit more rich. Just personal preference, but you could totally use black if you want to. I won't tell anybody. You don't get any points off for that. I won't let the art police. I had somebody comment once on one of my videos about using black, about how true artists or whatever don't use black. I'm like, use whatever color you find helpful to you. I don't subscribe to that kind of like, there's all these fine art rules and things. I feel like whatever works for you is the best color for you to use. So there's some rules and things that people like to, and there's some traditional ways of doing things, but and I just feel like there's room for any, I don't know. I don't like limitations put on art myself, so I feel like whatever works for you is the right kind of art for you, the right way of doing it. I'm just showing you what I do. That's it. I'm not saying it's the best way. Probably not the easiest way, that's for sure.
But it is the best way.
Hmm?
What?
What'd you say?
Nothing. I'm just over here reading chat.
You said something about the best way.
No.
Your way the best way? We're going to find out Mark's way is the best way next week. I hope you guys join us for that. I think it's going to be a blast.
It's going to be something.
And I think it'll be really helpful for those who may be struggling with some of the techniques, because I do tend to go quickly in these videos and maybe make it look a little bit easier than. So we'll get the true feeling of where a beginner.
So if you've been down on yourself about how you paint, tune in next week to encourage yourself that, man, I don't suck that much. There are people out there that paint worse than me.
Not nearly as much as Mark. You're going to be encouraging a whole lot of people next weekend. Well, and I'm hopefully going to be able to show some stuff that I don't normally teach. Like I said, it's going to be a way of being able to break it down a little bit more carefully for you. And just to see where Mark's struggling, then I can know where I need to explain things, That's the main thing. What? We're all assuming you're going to be struggling? Is that what you...
Oh, that's a given.
Well, if I go slow enough, hopefully there won't be that much of it. I can kind of break it down into steps that'll be easy for you to figure out, and you just take your time with it. And not too much time, but
and it's perfectly fine with me if you laugh at my painting. So I understand.
Hey, everybody had to start somewhere. Okay, that one's empty. I'm using the fluid black. It'll go on a little bit faster.
And which brush are you using?
Ready for this? This is the fun part. Okay,
Which
this is
brush?
just a number 6 angle from the 6100 series.
People are saying that they would never laugh at me, but they just haven't. They can't even imagine yet what they're about to witness next week.
It's gonna be good. If it works out, I think we should do it every year for Valentine's. And if it doesn't, you just be glad that you got to witness it, because it will never happen again. So we'll see. Could go either way. I'm rooting for you, honey. I think you can do it.
You can do it.
I wouldn't have picked that project if I thought you couldn't do it. So I think it'll be a fun kind of his and her project too. So you could do it with your loved one. You could always do it out in white if you don't like black swans, I guess. But we're really glad that you guys stuck with us today and hung out here for 2 hours and 43 minutes here. So yeah, didn't quite hit the two hour mark. Went well over that. It's funny how I lose time though. It's incredible how that works, and it has to do with the state your brain goes into, I think. I read a study about it once a long time ago about painting just in general. It's kind of like it's not just painting. There's all kinds of different, things that will help kind of put your brain into that kind of Zen mode where you are so fully engaged in what you're doing that you lose track of time. And for some people, it's Facebook. I know Pinterest does it for me too. But it's good for pain relief. A lot of people use it for therapy for that very reason, because you do kind of lose track of time and you can kind of spend a couple hours maybe in a little bit less pain. I'm sure the pain is still there, but I know, I don't really notice my I have neck and shoulder pain quite a lot, and very rarely do I notice it while I'm in the middle of a painting. I usually do at the very end, or if while I'm winding down or cleaning up my brushes afterwards, I'll start to notice little things. But it's pretty cool how that works, and it also kind of shuts your brain off. If you've had a rough week or whatever, just getting into the zone and painting can kind of de-stress. And I say that sometimes I know painting can be super stressful when you're first learning it. So I'm not saying that, it's going to be super easy all the time. But, once you kind of learn and kind of get the basics down and get into it, it can really be a fun, relaxing hobby and good for you, not just... I get a lot of comments from people who are having health issues that they use painting to help with it. I've got a lady that does counseling, and she uses it in her counseling practice, with her patients to help them relax and with anxiety and different things like that. So it's pretty neat. So I think if you approach it with a little bit more of an open mind, think about how you did art when you were a kid. Don't have too much high expectations on yourself when you first are starting out with it. Just kind of try to enjoy the process. And if it turns out bad, well, you can try again on another day. It doesn't have to be perfect right off the bat. And I think part of the enjoyment is just kind of getting into the process of it and just letting your own expression happen. I think that it takes the enjoyment out of it when we start to compare ourselves too much with other people. I mean, I provide these lessons mainly just to kind of give you a head start in your art, not to try to say this is the only right way to do it, and if it doesn't look like mine, then you've failed. That's not at all the goal. The goal is just to kind of help you along, give you some ideas for some projects you can do, try them, give you some techniques that you can use for whatever it is you're working on, and hopefully make the process of learning to paint a little bit easier, because I know it was difficult for myself when I learned. Took me a while to kind of get the knack of using acrylics, and I wish I'd known just some of the things about...
Sorry, I'm not sure about that.
Well, let me turn her off before I say her name.
She who shall not be named.
Shut off. Okay, there we go. Alexa. Annoying. That's getting so deep, too. I have no idea what she was responding to. I didn't even say her name. My daughter-in-law's sister is named Alexa, and that was fun when she was visiting. There's a lot of interrupting going on. That she controls our lights, so at least she didn't turn off our lights in the studio. I love it. So fun. I can definitely see, I think I want to just glaze just a little bit of the darker red just around the middle, just to kind of draw it in even more. It's kind of there, but it's not, like there's some areas that are a little bit messy in here, so I think I'm going to want to do that. So we may be 3 hours before we're done after all this is...
We'll apologize for saying, hey, Alexa, to all those who are
Stop
right
it.
now.
That was mean.
Because I would now say, hey, Siri.
Mark.
What? Never mind. I did it to myself. My iPad.
Okay. Yeah. See? That's what you get for being a pain.
No, I don't know how to fix it.
That's hilarious.
Okay, it's back.
It's not... If you can figure out how to get rid of the Bixby button on my phone, I would be happy. Because, man, it's so annoying when I'm trying to... Especially at night, when I'm trying to shut down my thing and I hit the power button and it hits the Bixby on my new phone. It doesn't have the power button. It just has that weird button that I don't want to use for anything. And then it'll play a note. It'll play a sound too. Sometimes.
Oh, it doesn't activate that for me. It just says power.
On yours?
Yeah, I think you can remap it.
Well, you need to do that for mine because it's really annoying. Sorry. We went from really deep
thoughts.
Deep art thoughts to phone
chat.
Mm-hmm. Anyhow, my main point was just have fun with it. Don't be too hard on yourself when you're beginning, when you're learning. Don't expect yourself to be perfect the third painting. I had somebody like post their painting and I'm like, I've done 10 paintings and that I'm just not getting it. I'm like, I can't think of one thing that I've done 10 times and been good at it yet. You know, it's just not the way the world works. Just gotta persist. Try it a few times. It's gonna take, some people might catch on pretty quick, you know, depends on what you've done and if you've got a lot of natural hand-eye coordination and, you know, have drawn or something and for, you know, just, but give yourself permission to be a beginner. Give your permission to, excuse my language, to suck at it for a little while until,
What?
well, I don't know if kids are watching, but but I heard somebody talking about it, you know, they were like saying how they personally overcome kind of their own fear in creating art, and just not just art, but, you know, any kind of thing, you know, and just anytime they're trying something new, different, and just, they say permission to suck before they start, you know. It's just like going in with that mentality, like, okay, this may not go well, and that's okay.
Well,
you know,
I can see where a lot of people are because, you know, they've invested money into
right?
their supplies.
Yeah,
And so, like, when I look at it from, like, woodworking,
sure.
you know, I'm very hesitant to cut a board or do something because
Right.
it's like, okay, I know how much that cost, and
Yeah,
if it's going to come out all wonky and not right, I'll be frustrated because, you know, I just
you've
wasted
invested all the money. Yeah, it feels like a waste.
X
Right.
number of dollars, but you realize it's okay. It's part of the journey. It's part of the learning exercise, and
Right.
then you go on.
Yep. Yeah, and if you just keep on trying, I mean, you wouldn't stop, you know.
Collaborate and listen.
Huh?
Collaborate and listen.
Yep.
Or,
All right.
or hammer time.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You said stop.
Oh, God. Okay. I'm going to get in some of that red and some of the Quinacridone Magenta. And I can tell you've been at this for a few hours. You're getting loopy again.
Something must be in this water.
I think so. All right, I'm just going to kind of pull glaze from this middle section out just a little bit. Try not to do it too dark.
Somebody says it looks upside down.
Is it? Oh, you're right. It is upside down.
I didn't know flowers had a top.
Well, yeah, this one does.
So much better.
I didn't think it looked kind of weird, but I wasn't sure. I was looking at this little one that was out here. I thought it was this one. So I thought it was right side up. But now I don't know which side I glazed already. I think it's over there. Okay.
Maybe the reference photo's upside down. Just saying. Mind blown.
Maybe. Yeah, I think that helped. Can I make it a little bit richer in the middle? Kind of pull your attention in. And then I definitely need some darker shadows on some of these that are out here towards the outer edges of the painting. Now they're looking mighty flat. So I'm just going to get a little bit of that purple. Use a clean brush. Smush that around a little bit. There we go. Okay, get that smaller brush. Quinacridone Magenta. A little bit of purple in there. Might even use the round brush because I can really get in these tighter spots with it. There we go. Just using this damp brush to kind of soften that line up a little bit. There we go. Okay, I'm going to use it over here. Make sure each one of these petals has got enough contrast for you to be able to tell where it starts and the next one stops or starts, where it stops and the next one starts. That's what I meant to say. A little bit of that red. Trying to get in there. All these little spots that I'm seeing that just are a little bit unresolved. Water to push it around. You can use a little glazing medium too if you need to help it stick. You don't want to loosen up that bond to the paint, so be careful how much water you're using. Get some of that purple there. Anytime you've got two of these that are really dark and need separation, you can use a little bit of that purple to help. Help them stand out a little bit. Okay, I think we're gonna Oh, I don't even know where we're at. There we go. I think we're going to call that good. I could keep messing with that for another couple hours. I do feel like...
Oh, we know.
I know. Well, I'm going to glaze a little bit of this yellow with some orange. Just tone it down a little bit. A little bit more golden. Pretty, and I think I probably could do a few more of the big petals too. Like a little bit outside the lines. 'Cause there's some that are kind of not staying within that little tight border. So there we go. Sign it. Oops, I guess I can't sign it with that. I have to.
So you got to sign it with some white out.
I'm going to use the 3/0 round, I think. Wow, I made
So
a
while
mess
you're
of my
doing that,
fingers
we'll
there,
just
wasn't
remind everybody about
I? Good on my phone.
Patreon. Today is the first day of the month, so you can join and get the whole month.
Yeah.
And like Angela said, today is the last day for the $1 level.
Traceables, yes.
And then it'll go up to $2
Yes.
for all the new people. If you're currently $1 member, it'll stay $1 as
Yep.
long as you stay active, and that'll be there.
Yep.
And then, of course, the $5 level for the bonus video and traceables, $10 level for all that, plus access to a Facebook group where there's even more painting.
Yes.
And thank you, big, super duper, huge thank you to the nearly 2,300 supporters right now on Patreon.
It's crazy. I
It
can't
is.
believe it.
It is crazy.
You guys are so sweet to us. We
Mhm.
cannot thank you enough.
And like we said, when you gain access, it's not just to this month's materials. It's for all the materials that have been posted there for the last 3 years. So you can
Right.
peruse all the old videos and traceables.
Yeah, there's traceables for almost every single video I've ever done. Not any of the ones before 2017 were kind of hit or miss. I didn't do traceables for all of those, but anything that is within the last 2 years, we have traceables, or 3 years, we have traceables for. So, all right, let's try that again with a little bit more opaque color that just wasn't showing up. And then when I wiped it off, it took off my black paint. So to move it over here a little bit. I find these little thinner, shorter bristle brushes do pretty well for signing rather than the long bristles. So there we go. No splatters today, but
No splatters. Oh, well.
sorry, Dave.
He had to leave. He was here
He had to leave.
earlier, but he's
Oh.
gone, so.
Oh, good.
Yep.
Good, good, good. I'm going to get a little bit of this color that I just did my signature with, and I'm just going to lightly let's see. I don't know if I need that or not. I kind of feel like I do. I'm using the little stippler here. It's going to give me a little bit of texture. I think it'll blend this highlight on here without having to go over it. Let's use that Zinc White. I've got some of that pink on there, but I'm just going to use the Zinc White in here. not sure I love that.
And if you're new, hope you hit the thumbs up. Well, everybody hope you hit the thumbs up. And then
Yes.
also subscribe to the channel. Check out all the other big flower videos.
Yes, we've got a whole playlist of them in my on my homepage on my channel. So if you go after the video, go to just click on my name or my photo there underneath video, and it'll take you to my channel homepage. And scroll down a little bit, you'll see the playlist for all the different large flower series that we've done. We have, oh gosh, a lot. Couple poppies, couple roses, couple sunflower. I can't think of all of them right off the top of my head. Calla lily, lily, orchid. Yeah, so lots and lots and lots of flowers. Yeah, 2 different roses, white and red roses. We're going to have another rose coming up next month, I think. And a pink, like a light pink rose. Because I like painting roses, so. But I like painting flowers in general, so this has been fun. Hope you enjoyed it too. Like Mark said, if you liked it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe and all that good stuff. And we'll see you on Tuesday night. We're going to be painting. What are we painting? The key. Yeah, we're going to be doing like a little super simple floral with the key. So the little heart key. So it'll be a fun little Valentine's-ish kind of project. Not too Valentine's-y though, so you could use it all year long. So, all right, guys, thanks so much for watching with us today, and we will see you next time. Bye.